Would you be surprised if I told you EA killed one of the most popular racing game series, and it's on its way to killing the most popular racing game series? EA isn't evil, but they mishandled their properties. Welcome to the third installment of our series on EA's biggest missteps. Today, let's see what happened to the Burnout franchise and see if the Need for Speed franchise is headed for the same fate. I'm Darth Pascal, and welcome to Suns Gaming. Burnout was once the biggest racing game on the market. In 8 years, they released 5 mainline console games, selling over 15 million copies. But then, all of a sudden, the series was gone. In 2004, EA purchased Criterion Games and also the right to publish Burnout games. Later in 2004, Burnout 3 Takedown was a smashing success. Critics praised its crash mechanics and were unlike anything in games at the time. A year later, Burnout Revenge released and took the crash mechanics to new heights. Although an arcade racer, the crash mechanics felt epic but somehow realistic at the same time. The Xbox 360 version of the game took advantage of the high processing of the next-gen console and added bigger crashes, bigger explosions, and better visuals overall. Burnout Revenge was praised as one of the greatest arcade racers of all time. 2008 rolled around, and so did Burnout Paradise. It sold well, but didn't do as well critically as the two previous entries. The crash modes were gone, instead going for an open-world experience, much like Need for Speed. And that was the problem. EA saw Burnout as in-house competition to Need for Speed. But just like that, Burnout was gone. Paradise would be the last mainline Burnout game. The games didn't sell poorly, they didn't do bad critically, and although fans didn't love Paradise, they definitely didn't hate it. EA didn't see a way for these two franchises to coexist. The weird part is, they already were. Let's move on to Need for Speed. Need for Speed is the 12th best-selling franchise of all time, at over 150 million copies sold. So how could it even be close to death? Need for Speed used to be an annual release, selling extremely well worldwide, while also pleasing both fans and critics. But in 2013, with the PS4 and Xbox One launching, EA decided to make Need for Speed Rivals rely heavily on online play. Fans and critics liked the game, but they definitely didn't love it. Foregoing annual release dates, the rebooted Need for Speed released in 2015 to below average reception and sales. Again, 2 years later, Need for Speed Payback released and was basically Fast and the Furious, the video game, but somehow even cheesier than its inspiration. It did even worse critically. The most recent game in the series, Need for Speed Heat, did better, but still not great. The last 3 releases, EA has not released the sales numbers, which usually means they didn't sell well or possibly even hit 1 million in sales. The problem with recent Need for Speed games is they don't do anything particularly well. Burnout was never great for its driving or its realism or even its racing. Burnout was great because it did crashing so well. What made Need for Speed great was the focus on police chases during a race. Having to escape from the police in the middle of a race made every race a thrilling experience. Need for Speed has lost that. The games don't do driving or customization or crashing better than any other racing games. Nothing in recent Need for Speed games makes them stand out. That is why they are beginning to decline with fans, critics, and in sales. And judging off of EA's history, they could close the franchise altogether if things don't change soon. So what can EA learn/change from the mishandling of these racing franchises? To start, bring back Burnout. Make a next-gen Burnout game that focuses on what makes the series great. It's crashing. The same can be said for Need for Speed. Make a game that focuses on what it's good at, the cops versus racer appeal, and make every car extremely customizable. But most importantly, listen to your fans. Your fans will buy your games if you just listen to them. Comment down below if you miss Burnout and what you think of Need for Speed. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I'm Darth Pascal, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the conclusion of the EA series.